Good morning. Pleasant good morning to one and all. Welcome to another episode of Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption and Incompetence. Pleasant good morning to you all. It's good to be here with you once again to share this information, to interact with you. So welcome to this other episode this morning. This morning we have lots of things to talk about. So share, you know the drill. By now you know the drill. Not only fall in and cover down, but fall in and share the information. Share to tell people that we are on. I see people are now joining. So while I go through the little preamble, give you some time, one man will say, share the damn live stream. I'm not going to tell you that, but you could follow the principle and share, let people know that you are here. Share. People have been meeting me all over the place. Even to this morning, someone was asking me how he can get onto the program. So I had to guide him as to how he can get the program. So share the program. Let people know that we're on. Good morning, Terence. Good to see you on board, early and punctual as usual. Morning, Denise. You're on punctual as usual. You've been doing very well in the past couple of weeks. I know that you're here before Lenny. So when he comes on, I hope you buck him up. Let him know that you have been on before him. He likes to tell you about finding days pay and putting you on confinements to barracks. You're here before him. It is now 11, and you should be here. Good morning, Natasha. You another regular and another punctual person. Lynette and others. Good morning. Welcome to the program, and people are joining all the time. So share. Let them know that we're on. Share the live. Let them know that we're on and we are ready to go. Myself and Mr. Conway, CC, we are here and ready to bring you up to date with what is going on in this dear land of Guyana. You know, people saying that Guyana is not a real place, but it is indeed a real place. You have some people who perhaps are not real people. They are called by lots of names, and when they are called those names, they get emotionally upset and they go to the court. So I'm not going to call them that name, but you know how we refer to them. So while we await the people who are interested in having the information here, we also have to wait for those who are going to listen to find fault and to say that slow defame them. So welcome all, including you, because I'm sure that you are, well, I hope that you can learn something. People say that you perhaps are beyond learning, but I don't think so. So we need to share the live. We need to let people know that we are here. The numbers are running up, the viewership, and let's share, and let's be ready to rumble, as they say. So good morning to all those who are joining, and we wait. Those who, if you should share the information, I'm sure the numbers are going to run up much faster, and we are going to be ready to start. I don't want to start with the pertinent information, as a person would say, and then others miss it. So we're going to wait a little and allow persons to join, and then we are going to kick off and get rolling. As I said I said earlier, we have lots and lots of issues to talk about this morning. I don't think we're going to be able to get through all of those issues, but we'll try to deal with the ones that are relevant, the ones that I know that you will want to hear about today, because all the issues you will want to hear about, but some are more current than others. So we're going to try to deal with all the current issues to bring you up to speed. People look forward to this program on Wednesdays. People have asked me to explore the possibility of having additional programs. I am going to continue to look at that. But for now, Wednesday, the 1 hour, first of all, when the Wednesdays come very quickly, as we'll all recognize. And then once the 1 hour start, it flies by. Quick time. When you look up at the time, then you recognize that it's 50 minutes, 55 minutes, and then you have to hustle to finish. And almost on every occasion, we have had to go over it a little. So let's share. And I like to usually tell you that in addition to the Facebook Live, I encourage all to go to YouTube, hit the bell, hit the subscribe button. The bell will ensure that you get the notification when the program goes live, and the subscribe button will also ensure that you get that information. Because all of us are not on Facebook. Some people will view on YouTube. So let them know that if you're not on Facebook, you are on YouTube. You can also get the program live and direct. Morning, Ulrich. Morning, Orin. Welcome to the program. Welcome to this episode. So please share, please share, please share. Where do I start? I start in the usual manner by offering prayers and thanks to the Almighty for allowing us to be here for another day. The psalmist, as I said last week, and I will continue to say, the psalmist say that this is the day the Lord has made. Let's rejoice and be glad in it. Because many persons have not been this fortunate to see this other day. Last week, I did mention the death. We start with our obituary. Last week, I mentioned the death of retired Assistant Commissioner Lenny Hudson. Lloyd is his correct name, but we know him as Lenny Hudson. His funeral service was in New York last Saturday. A few days ago, I met his son, and his son has asked me to share the information in relation to what is going to transpire in Guyana, because he will be buried in Guyana this coming Saturday the 21st. And the son has asked me to let you know that the funeral service will be at Christ Church in Georgetown from 9 a.m. Saturday morning. So all those of us colleagues who are, or former colleagues who want to go and pay our last respects to Lenny, it will be on Saturday, this coming Saturday, May the 21st, at Christ Church in Georgetown. Then he will be buried in his, I think it's Belgium area, somewhere on the West Coast, Barbies. He'll be taken back for interment. So let people know, those of us who want to go to the service in Georgetown, let them know that Lenny's service, the celebration of his life in Guyana, will be on Saturday at 9 o'clock. And then I regret to have to inform you of the death of a serving member, Assistant Superintendent of Police Jermaine Harper. He passed yesterday or recently. There was a rumor about 2 weeks ago that he had passed, and I think one of his relatives had to correct that, said no, he was sick in hospital, but he was very much alive. So when the news surfaced that this time around that he passed, I think people wanted to make sure. Well, I think it was confirmed because the commissioner, or the person who sits in the chair of the commissioner, has indicated, I think, that indeed I saw a release giving condolences on behalf of the force to the relatives and friends, colleagues of the late Assistant Superintendent of Police, Jermaine Harper. For those of you who remember him, he was traffic rank, West Demerara, East Coast, and he worked several places, so he has passed. And this morning, I see someone is telling me, Frankie, thank you, Frankie. I got the message, the sad news this morning that former woman, that can't remember what her rank was when she retired, Harry, W352, my squad mate, passed away this morning. I'm not sure where she was, but she passed this morning, W352, Harry. She passed this morning. So condolences to the relatives, friends, children, family of those persons who have passed. And as we say, may they rest in peace and rise in glory. But before, I also need to mention the passing of one Ted Bertrand Semple. He was not a police as such, but he was the brother of Neil Semple, former traffic chief Neil Semple. Neil posted a few days ago that his brother passed suddenly at the Georgetown Public Hospital Corporation after perhaps a brief illness. I remember I didn't know him, but I looked forward to his postings on social media. He posts some very, very interesting historical articles on social media about Golden Grove and about retired police commissioners, and some very, I'm sure it's there somewhere for people to look at. And I would hope that someone will compile those things for the information and education of all. But Ted passed recently. Condolences to Neil and the surviving relatives as well. So I think one would say that this is not a good way to start, but we don't have any control over that. Someone has passed. I think we have a responsibility to share the information so that those of us who want to sympathize, to pay condolences, and perhaps to attend the homegoing service, if you get that opportunity, can do so. So that is where we want to start this morning, to tell you that, as we usually do, to tell you about that passing. So, as I've said, let's give praise and thanks to the Almighty for allowing us to be in the land of the living. In the notification for this program this morning, I indicated that I'll have again with me retired Assistant Commissioner Mr. Clinton Conway. So I'm going to bring Mr. Conway in now, so that we can go straight into the conversation. Welcome, Mr. Conway. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you, Paul, and my sympathy to the friends, relatives, and family of those who passed. But you need to hold your hands a bit. You got a little heavy this morning. I think that was the largest number. So please.
Yeah, four. Well, 3 plus 1 this morning. Yeah.
And I always wish to say that I'm always happy to be in your company. Remember, we are co-accused. Although I read recently in the papers that they're trying to split up the co-accused, where they want to put legislation that one evidence against the other would be admissible.
Would be legal, yeah.
We're together, and nothing's going to split us, Paul.
Yeah. So nice. So now the next thing that I want to really mention, yesterday along the East Coast, and I think almost all over the country, had heavy rainfalls. Rain. And I saw a clipping, a video clipping on social media where some traffic ranks along the East Coast were in the pouring rain directing traffic. I drove along the road too, and I saw some of them. I want to compliment those ranks. Many times it's just negative. Right, you. I drove. The post I drove. I saw ranks there in their raincoat, except for one man. One man, a subordinate officer, did not even have on a raincoat, but he was there in the pouring rain directing traffic. And I mean, we have to compliment those persons. We have to compliment. It shows dedication, and it's an indication of what we have been saying all the time, that there are people out there who are committed to doing the right thing. They are committed. They took an oath to serve and protect. Many of them are committed to that oath. Unfortunately, when you have positive things like this, many people do not highlight it. They highlight only the negative. So I thought I made a note immediately. Even before seeing the clip on social media, I made a mental note that I'll have to speak about it this morning. So for those ranks who braved the rain yesterday, those traffic ranks, to be directing traffic on the East Coast, compliments to you, and keep up the good work. That was excellent work. Keep up the good work. For the man who did not have on a raincoat, I said, brother, protect yourself. Get a raincoat and make sure that you are protected. Sisi, what do you think about that?
I travel around Georgetown too, and it was the same situation. Men were there in the rain. Saw all of them with the raincoats, especially in Mandela Avenue and other places. So they were there and they doing excellent work, braving the rain.
Yeah, so let's compliments to them. Now moving on. Today is the 18th of May in the year of our Lord 2022. If you remember, CC, it's almost, well, today might be the year, tomorrow, almost a year. It was in 19th of May in the year 2021 when you were arrested and when charge was filed against us. And I want to ask you to reflect on the year, reflect on the day when you were arrested, taken to break down. 1 year has passed since. Time really flies. What are your reflections over the years, CC?
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to reminisce. I will not comment on the elements of the allegation made against us, but there are certain things that I must say and I must recall. And I can recall I was arrested by Deputy, and I called him Deputy Superintendent Harvey. And he invited me to Suku. I turned down the invitation. And then he told me, on certain terms, that his boss said that if I turned down the invitation, he must arrest me and carry me to Soku and break down. So I told him, I said, look, there are some lessons to be learned. I said, look, I'm recording everything that you're saying and everything that will take place. Took me to Suku and at breakdown. And at breakdown, I was told, Mr. Conway, you want to sell by yourself or you want to share cells? I'm surprised that I'm disappointed that I didn't share any cell or I didn't go in any cell. Couple if I'd gone in there, I'm certain that I would have found a piece of wire, a piece of sponge, and a lighter, but I would not have burned down Breakdown police station. And the funny thing is that nobody searched me. I had my recording device on me. I had my firearm on me. No search. We used to tell the police in our time that when you search, you find evidence related to a charge. You find evidence in relation to additional charge. You you have safe custody of the prisoner's property. You prevent the prisoner from injuring you and injuring others, and you prevent the prisoner from escape. Nothing was done. I asked for bail. Commissioner happy said, "Boy, this thing is political. I can't grant you any bail." And
Wow.
believe it or not, Paul, a politician granted us bail. By then, or even before then, I moved to the High Court to file habeas corpus proceedings against the Commissioner and the Attorney General. The judge postponed it for another day because we had to serve document.
Mm-hmm.
Now, for us to get bail, men who served the police force for a total of over 175 years, unbroken service, distinguished service, a politician had to give us bail. I can recall one of my contacts contacted him. And in my presence and hearing, we listened to the conversation. He said, yes, he's going to call the head of Suku and give him instructions to send us on bail. And within 20 minutes, two ranks from Suku came and put us on our own recognizance. Here is it.
Wow.
The police cannot give us bail, but as a politician sent us on bail. The matter has been dragging on, dragging on. So far, no disclosure, no nothing. Coming to a year, and I won't be surprised if next year come and be in the same position. I won't be surprised if it ended up at the CCJ. But I know that they have nothing against us. It was all political, and we will prove our innocence.
And important, well, and let's for the viewers to know, that the point that politicians, the politicians sending on bail, there is no way in the law a politician has that authority. As a matter of fact, if you were to check the Police Act 1601, that authority lies with the person in charge of the station. The station sergeant is the person who puts persons on bail. And you imagine from not being able to send someone on bail to allowing the person to go on his own recognizance is a clear indication that the person is not a flight risk. The person is not going to interfere with witnesses. And those are some of the considerations in granting bail. But the thing that in particular and other matters are so politicized that can you imagine that you're calling the person who sits in the chair of the commissioner? These are people that he knows, he worked with many of them. And he is saying that, look, why this thing is political, he can't put you on bail. And a politician intervened to put people on bail. So I just wanted people to know where this place has gone, where it is going. It is so sad. And as you have indicated, 1 year, 1 year, and nothing. All you go to court, and the prosecutor from Soku cannot even at this stage indicate how many witnesses they're going to call to prove this case against us. And perhaps even more egregious is the fact that serving police ranks are charged jointly, and they are interdicted from duty and perhaps placed on half pay pending the outcome of the charge. So people are in a position where they have families to maintain, they have commitments, perhaps mortgages to pay. You put them on half pay, and the people are there. This thing has destroyed the career. I mean, you might want to say that some of us who have retired perhaps are a little lucky because they can't interdict us, even though it has had other consequences. But the thing is, so when you look at the people who are charged, and let me remind persons, apart from the two of us, George is perhaps one of the quietest person that you can interact with. Soft-spoken, very decent. People say Slow and Conway are ragamuffins, Slow and Conway are bad Johns, especially Slow, and so on. But George is such a decent, easygoing, quiet person. You have Ivla Whitaker, who was there as a public relations officer, decent people, decent man with his family. You have Mark Gilbert, another decent man, right? Of course, had we not been decent and had we not been knowledgeable, we would not have found ourselves in this position, because the man who was the commissioner then called us to assist with the revision of this standing order, because he knew that we were decent and he knew that we had the requisite knowledge to do the revision. And then you have the police ranks, the female senior superintendent Washington. Then you have Assistant Commissioner Andrews Jr. that I refer to, very decent, educated person. There you have, who else? I think Smith is the name. Those persons are interdicted and placed on half pay, and a year has passed. And for the information of all, the matter is set now to be heard again on the 12th of August, I think it is. So next 3 months, 1 year has passed. 3 months more are going to come before the matter is called again, and that is a position we're in. And we know, because when you look at the day, the 19th of May, the matter in relation to the application that was filed by Brutus was set to be heard the following week. It was set to be heard the following week. And again, another interesting thing on that day, the 19th of May 2021, is that the very day that you were arrested, the very day, the charge was filed the afternoon of the 19th, Thursday, the 19th of May, for persons to appear the following morning. The very afternoon of Thursday, the 19th of May, the Prime Minister signed a letter. Let me repeat that. The Prime Minister signed a letter addressed to Conway and Slow, separate letters, for them to show cause why he should not advise the president to have them removed from the Police Service Commission. That was the reason. That was the motive for the charge. I've said so before, and I will continue to say that. Let them say that I am wrong. Let them say that I am defaming. The 19th, the day that Conway is arrested, Conway and others, the day that they are arrested, the day that the charge is filed, it was filed in the afternoon of the 19th of May, Thursday, the 19th of May, 2021. A letter or two letters emanating from the Prime Minister, one to Conway or one to Slow, for them to show cause why he, the Prime Minister, should not advise the President that Conway and Slow should be removed from the Police Service Commission.
But Paul, you escaped the arrest on that day because they did check the advance passenger manifest and see you were booked to come in there. And they sent ranks up to Timeri to arrest you when you come off the plane, put you in handcuff, and bring you down there. But perhaps you would have worn the handcuff with like a badge of rank as Dr. Ashley Singh said when he was placed in handcuff. But they did caught up with you at the steps of the court, Georgia Magistrate Court, when you were there to answer charge. So they eventually got to arrest you, which I know was
you see, the whole
unlawful.
thing is, look, you know, and people know that we are policemen. We not only just wear the uniform, because there's a clear distinction. I mentioned to some friends the other day, and they laughed. When I was at the TSU, we made a clear distinction between sergeants and persons who wore three stripes. If you were a sergeant, you were a person who knew to command people to do drills, weapon training, and all that type of thing, as against a man who just wearing three stripes. And many of them are wearing the police uniform. They are not police. So I knew what was going on. I knew what was going on. And therefore, I knew they were at the airport sitting there waiting. And I knew too that they went there the following day, the next day they went again to the airport to sit and wait. Well, you know, they said the Lord worked in mysterious ways, because I knew that the charge was already filed. I knew that they had no lawful authority to arrest me. And therefore, if I had arrived on that day and they had attempted to unlawfully arrest me, as the old people say, I don't know the can with a share. I don't know how the can would have shared. So everything happens to the best. I did not come there. But they were so intent on arresting Paul Slow that even when Paul Slow turned up at the court in answer or in compliance of the summon that they served, they still attempted, well, not even attempt the arrest, because they arrested me there because, you know, it's an arrest. We know the definition. And by definition, I was arrested by them, even though they didn't get to take me to the inquiry's office and to put me in handcuffs. By definition, that's an arrest. Arrest is a taking a restraining of liberty. Right. So my liberty was taken and restrained, and they allowed to me there and so on. But there's another matter, because we'll see where that will go. But we have to emphasize the fact that 1 year has passed, and this matter has gone nowhere. 1 year has passed, and the matter has not. It has not even commenced. There has not been any disclosure. You know, in the court, again, for the viewers who perhaps are not familiar with the system, what we're talking about here, at some stage they have to present to our attorneys statements and to say, well, this is the matter they are going to, these are the witnesses, these are the statements they're going to rely on to prove the case. It has not even reached that stage. So I have no expectation that this matter is going to be this matter is going to be decided on soon. But in the meanwhile, people are suffering. I remember I referred to the serving members who are on half pay. I understand that there was a ruling some time ago that should not be, but it's for up to them. You have got to do your research, and you have got to file your own, look into your own case. I mean, we are going to continue to highlight, because I have said part of this program is to keep these things in the public domain. People must know these things are not going to be swept under the carpet. I am not. I am committed to ensuring that this and other matters are kept on the front burner. It is not going to be swept under the carpet. I think that is what I want, because in this space, I would normally say things have what we call a limited shelf life. It comes up, and for the first couple of days, it is there in the media, it is there on social media, and shortly thereafter, you don't hear about it anymore. So this is not going to happen in these cases. I'm going to keep it up. I'm going to keep it on the board. And as I've said, destruction of careers of the serving members, destruction of people's careers, wickedness, vindictiveness, wicked and vindictiveness. I know people are suggesting that we should, I'm seeing in the comments, file a motion for the lawyers. We have competent attorneys, and I'm sure that the attorneys that we have are going to consider all the options. They're going to consider all the options in this matter. I have confidence in the attorneys, and that is where we are with this matter. Another matter I should inform about. Last week I mentioned the appeal. Remember the matter with the Police Service Commission. I mentioned last week, I was keeping you up to date, that the lawyers had to file on the 10th, and they had to then reply to each other on by the 13th, and the full court is going to rule on the matter on the 20th. That is Friday coming, the day after tomorrow. We expect that the full court will undo the decision in the appeal. And again, quickly, just to let you know what we're talking about here, is that remember the Police Service Commission that I chaired, and of which Mr. Conway was a part, challenged what we refer to as the unlawful suspension of the commission by the president on the 16th of June, 2021. The matter is moving its way through court. By the time it gets to the judge, the life of the commission ended in August, on August 8, 2021, and the Attorney General position is that the fact that the life of the commission has ended, then the matter should not proceed. The judge ruled that notwithstanding the fact that the life of the commission has ended, the matter is of sufficient public interest, that is to say whether the president acted lawfully and abided with the Constitution when he suspended the Police Service Commission. So the judge ruled that given the public nature of the matter, he will replace Paul Slow in the place instead of the Police Service Commission, because the life of that commission had ended. That matter was appealed, and that is what I'm referring to. The appeal to the full court. The full court is expected to undo the decision on Friday. So that is where that matter is. CC, I saw recently in the newspaper that we have now some police stations, 2 new police stations and 1 outpost. Let me hear your views on that.
I don't know how the police really operating. Right now, they're short of ranks. I think for the past 2 years, they didn't do any recruit training. My information is, Paul, that they're waiting for accreditation from the University of Guyana. They're waiting and part of the accreditation, they must have employed persons with at least 3 subjects, CXC. The police running helter-skelter to get that done. So persons like me and you, who joined at the time with just our basic primary education and who rose to assistant commissioner, and according to this current proposal that they have now, we would not have had the opportunity to join the police force. And it's how you utilize your scarce resources. The police have a lot of problem in terms of recruitment. They run in competition with the gas and oil sector. They run in competition with their own security services. And they're struggling to get manpower. I heard the vice president talking about importation of laborers and all kind of thing, that there's a manpower issue. And you have manpower issue, and you're going to open 2 outposts in the Cinderella country. There where crime is very limited in that division. If I do a comparison, I would find that the Rumwell Police Station District has more crime, more serious crime than Region 2. So I don't see the sense, I don't see the need for opening more police station and outposts, particularly in a Region 2.
Well, one of these things are political. We don't deny that. Many of these things are political. And let me say this. Now, when you open new police stations and new outposts, you require resources. Not only manpower, but you have to get other stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go into the details here for security reasons, but you have to have other stuff. From long, I don't know if you recall, but from a long time now, I have been, from a tactical and a strategic point of view, I have been opposed to the police outpost, because a police outpost really is just a place, perhaps some in proximity to residents, to make a report. Police outposts are not designed to respond in a timely manner to reports of crime and other reports. And why I say that? Because in many cases, if you look at it, look at the staffing of the police outposts. And we have got to recognize that if you want people to respond, then they have to have the resources to respond. They have to have the human resources. They have to have other things like vehicles and all of that. So when you put a police outpost, it's just a show thing. People are going to go to the outpost and make a report, and then in order to get action, in most cases, is going to be referred to the bigger station. So many times, and then as you said, in the case of Porica and in the case of Anna Regina, it's a new building. I mean, I think I'll welcome new building, because I said on this program in the past that the work conditions of the police ranks are atrocious in most cases. Police work under extremely, not only work and live in the police barracks and buildings in extremely poor conditions. So we have to welcome any improvement in that area. But at the same time, improvement in that area should have the proper management should have a concomitant improvement in the service delivered to the public. And that is what is important. People want to know that if you have a new police station, then you must have new attitudes towards the member of the public. And that is a big problem.
I agree with you, Paul. It's about attitude. It was about behavior. That's why from time to time, I was saying that they should have a behavioral science unit in the Guyana Police Force. It's nice to have good accommodation, good buildings that are friendly to the public, buildings that you have a two-way mirror, that a witness who's afraid to confront a suspect can look at the mirror and see, and also we talk about domestic violence room and other facilities. But it's about behavior, it's about attitude. And having this nice to have building, excellent to have buildings, but you got to look at the human aspect of policing. And unless you address that, things are going to go haywire. But let's stay a bit in Essequibo. I read in the media that I think the Jagmans donated 10 vehicles to the Guyana Police Force. Could we talk a bit about it?
Oh, yes, I have it. I said, first of all, I think you will know that I have always been against these donations. Because the whole thing is that I said, whether you beg or whether the persons donate just like that, in Guyana, it is not done out of altruism. It's not done because some person want to be a good corporate citizen. In most cases, when things are donated, there's a quid pro quo. People look forward to getting something back. And the question I had to ask, not so long ago, over the past perhaps 5 years or so, we would have seen reports in the media of massive donations or massive purchases of vehicles, a lot of Chinese vehicle, an old set of vehicle, buses, motorcycles, all-terrain vehicles, all of those things were brought into the organization. So how is it that we still need private businesses and private individuals to make donations, not only of vehicles, you see computers, you see all. I am very wary and I always caution about that, because my experience is that when that is done, those persons, if they are not already untouchables, they act as if they are untouchables. The police ranks believe that they are untouchable, and it's a bad thing. I do not like it. I have never been in favor of it. Donations from civilians. I know civilians and corporate institutions can make good contributions, but not in that manner. I don't think it is appropriate in that manner. Vehicles, and then look at the vehicles. Police, the thing that I have argued over the years, police should not be given what we call second-hand vehicle or pre-owned vehicles. Police, you must buy new vehicles for the police to patrol and work with. not second-hand vehicle, which couple morning you have problems. And then the next thing that you have in terms of the police vehicles should be standardization of the fleet so that you can, as they say, cannibalize if it comes to that. But one of the difficulties you've had over the years is that you get vehicles and then when something happens, you can't even get parts for it. I remember many years ago, government brought in some vehicles from Germany. Can't remember the exact name. Some nice vehicle, 20-something brand new vehicles. The problem was that when something happened to the vehicles, you really can't get parts for them.
Was it the Opels?
The Opels, correct. The Opel vehicles that they brought in. So by now, if we're talking about a modernized police force, the modernized thinking will dictate and will demand that you have standardization in these things, standardization in stuff, so that it can be interchanged and it can be used easily. But when you bring donation, people come and people give you a vehicle. I'm going to give you a Toyota. I'm going to give you a Mercedes, perhaps. I'm going to give you a Nissan, and all kind of thing. And most of those things, when you look at it, you cannot get parts to repair them. They come scraps along the way. Look at any place where police vehicles are a whole set of scraps. You have, and many cases, because they know it is no longer economical. I remember I sat in the chair of Deputy Commissioner Operations, and that was part of my responsibility. When you look at the cost of maintaining these vehicles, it doesn't make sense. It's better you buy new vehicles. So that is something I frown on. This donation by corporate entities and by individuals, it has never found favor. It will never find my favor, because as people would say, sometimes people make donations, and when you check the background of those persons, sometimes it is questionable, and people will want to argue that they are seeking to align themselves to the police to get coverage. That is the argument that has been made in many cases. I mean, let me understand this. As a commander, you will know too that in many cases, people come and people give things to the police through the kindness of the art, and perhaps the commando is there. They are just pleased with the way things are going, and they want to make a tangible contribution, so they do that. The problem, however, is that many will come to do that, to find favor and to get what they call a get out of jail and a free pass. So I'm glad you raised that issue. And as I've said, it's not only an issue relating to vehicles, but you're talking about computers. Now you're going to donate computers. I want the check to make sure that these computers don't have malware and people don't have bugs in them, which will allow them to get some backdoor into the police. I don't think they're thinking this thing through. They are not thinking this thing through. And I know they listen. And I hope they are listening and they are going to take this into consideration.
Paul, let me give my take on it. I believe that the government should ensure that the police get the necessary resources to perform the duties. An oil-producing nation, buddy, can't find vehicles for people.
An oil-producing nation that just reduced $200 million from the Natural Resource Fund.
And part of it to $1 billion for fertilizer, free for farmers, and you can't find vehicles for police. A private entity, and I don't know those persons personally, but I read about their business engagements on the coast and in the interior. But the thing is that a lot of people, including police, cannot discern the difference between a gift and a bribe. And when person gives in Guyana, they expect certain preferential treatment. It is unethical. The smallest gift creates a sense of obligation. And that is where the corruption will start. We talk about trickle down economics. We have trickle down incompetence and corruption. What happened at the top will eventually trickle down to the bottom. Those guys at the bottom there. And the danger is it when those freebies are no longer available, ranks will start demand, and only demand with menace. And they will slip right down into what Sherman called the slippery slope of corruption leading to serious crimes. So my point is, let the government provide the resources for the people, or let we have friendly countries or credible international organizations, not the ordinary man of the police that would expect preferential treatment from the police. And even the police and all would say, hey, the man they donate so much a thing for you, man, let me treat you good and them kind of story. Though. Those are that is the reality of life in Guyana and in the police force.
Yeah, I fully agree with you. I fully agree. That is something that should be frowned on, because that someone says they're the person who pays the piper call the tune, and that is so true. That once the piper, the person who pays the piper, he's gonna call the tune. Now, the next thing
Paul,
yeah, go ahead.
let me add to, and then when you're dealing with resources, you have to look at the whole police force. Sometimes not only division, a division like Division 2.
Yes.
10 vehicles, and then the Minister of Home Affairs saying that the commissioner was sending some more 4x4 vehicles to deal with the rough terrain. What happened in Barbies? If you go, we used to call Barbies the Far East, remember in those days? And then and during the troubles, we used to call East Coast the Middle East. And we used to call Buxton the Gaza Strip. Now, if you check Barbies, and I Barbies and I have special interest in Barbies, there's no vehicle at Sisters. There's no vehicle at Reliance. There's no vehicle at Albion. There's no vehicle at Molson Creek. In Maro, they closed down Maro Police Station, which is a massive agriculture thing that instead of giving equip all those vehicles, what happened in Barbies? A place like Albion, Albion, you have to protect God Judge there when they had people. I understand the vehicle from Maibikuri has to come out by night and patrol in the Albion area and leave in Maibikuri thing. So let them provide the vehicles and look at it in a holistic way. Forget a bit sometime about Cinderella.
Yeah, but the thing, even recently I read in the on social media, a person complaining about making a report who lived very close to the Ramvelt outpost, make a report, and the people, when the police did not respond promptly, he called again, and they said, well, they told him that they don't have a vehicle. They have to wait on a patrol from another station to come to respond to his report. So I agree with you that if you're going to allocate resources, even if in this case you decide to take 10 vehicles from a corporate entity, you have got to decide how to properly allocate the resource. You should make that determination. And I hope they are going to review and to make sure that those vehicles, I don't think they will give them back. My recommendation will be give back the damn thing, but I don't think they will do that. So they have got to make a decision as to where those things are going to be put so that it can respond to the needs, or better respond to the needs of the public. So I agree fully with you. I agree fully with you. Now, the next thing that caught my attention during the course of the week, in recent times, I have seen the Police Corporate Communication Unit having interviews on social media with some of the officers in charge of some departments, like the quartermaster. They have been there with commanders and all. I have a problem with that. And I don't have a problem because I just want to find fault. Now, we have a situation where, as we had said for this program, we have a big problem in traffic. I have not seen a single what we would call public information from that unit in relation to traffic to advise people perhaps how to better use the roads. That people should be bombarded with that, given the fact that we have this many fatal accidents. You should have that type of information. You talk about crimes, being victims of crime. One would have thought that you'll have programs, public information telling people how to avoid being victims, things as tips on how to protect yourself, how to protect your property, and so on. In terms of traffic, back in the 90s, I don't know if you recall when Mr. Lai Lewis was a commissioner, there was an entity, one of those, I think, gas stations, did a program which was aired every Sunday night, So You Think You Can Drive. And in that program, with proper simulation and so, people were taught the correct thing. I think it is needed even more now than then. But the corporate communication unit has been interviewing these officers. I saw recently they interviewed the officer in charge of the
OPR
professional responsibility, and he gave what I consider some very startling statistics. He said that for the first 4 months, and I have the figure here, I'm quoting from what they said, 197 reports were made to that office against police ranks. Most of the reports related to ranks neglecting their duty. And this 197 is compared to 97 or something like that for the corresponding period last year. So you have a massive increase in reports against police. And he played a little politics there. He said, well, the fact that you have that many, that large number of increase could be an indication that people are more confident in coming to the Office of Professional Responsibility and to make complaints. But did you see that? What are your views in respect to that?
I saw bits and pieces of it, but I have an issue with the OPR. The present head there is an assistant superintendent. And if they're going to deal with disciplinary matters in relation to the Police Discipline Act, Chapter 1701, you had 2 sessions, 2 episodes on it, is that OPR can only investigate up to inspectors.
As it is, correct.
Are they saying that assistant superintendent and others do not breach the Police Discipline Act?
So we know differently.
So they need to look at the rank structure there, because the law saying is that every alleged offense of a breach of discipline shall be investigated as soon as practicable by a member of the force not below the rank of sergeant and of a higher rank than the rank who is alleged to have committed the offense. You mentioned it over and over again. So apparently the concentration is on, in terms of disciplinary matters, is on inspector downwards, when it should be a holistic right along the line there. Because that ASP cannot investigate an ASP in relation to the Police Discipline Act, nor other persons. So they need to really look at that, right?
Well, but having said that, last night there was this program where is the commissioner, even though it was said that there was going to be a panel.
You're talking about the man who holds in the office there?
Who sits in the office of the commissioner. Okay. And he did say, I overheard him saying that they're going to look to have a senior person at the Office of Professional Responsibility. So I know you have said that before, and I have said it. So maybe the message is getting across. So he did say that, but then you can't take these people.
I'm happy.
But you can't take them on the word. Now, one of the issues I have with the statement and the numbers from OPR is that, from my experience, and I'm sure you may have a similar experience, is that OPR, that's the Office of Professional Responsibility, is only concerned with investigations. Once they investigate, they send the matter for legal advice. The advice comes back and they send it to whichever department or division. Their work done. So I want the person in charge of the Office of Professional Responsibility to tell the public how many of those 197 cases in the first 4 months resulted in disciplinary action taken against the rank, and what has been the outcome of those disciplinary. That is what they have to say. Because I know, without any fear of successful contradiction, I have seen records where once the matter is passed through OPR finished with it, and many times nothing happens. I have seen numerous files, or I saw numerous files where the matter from OPR investigation is done, the matter sent to the DPP for legal advice. The advice is that disciplinary action should be brought against the rank, and nothing happens. Nothing happens. A similar situation is with the Complaints Authority, where recommendations are made for disciplinary action to be taken against ranks, and nothing has happened. So don't tell me that 197 reports were received. Take it to the logical conclusion and let us know. You see, I am not lazy. I'm not intellectually lazy. I'm going to ask these questions. Yes, 197 investigations were done, or reports were made. What has happened to those matters? How many resulted in disciplinary charges? And what are the results of those disciplinary charges? Did you? I am sure. I am not a betting man, but if I were a betting man, I am sure that if you were to go back now to the people who made the complaints to OPR and ask them if there hasn't been any feedback, a large percentage will tell you no, they hear nothing more about it. And that is not the way it should go. That is not the way. People making the report, you should make sure that you have a means, you have a mechanism to feed back to them. Well, we did an investigation, matter gone to the DPP. Matter came back, disciplinary action is to be taken against this person. We will call you at some stage to come to the inquiry to give the evidence. That is what you have to do. So they got to be a rethink of this whole thing with OPR and just coming to tell us about these figures of persons, of reports that were made. CC?
Paul, I said on numerous occasions, there is a no action red carpet. And many of these matters I understand have been dashed under that no action red carpet, and it's getting bulkier and bulkier all the time. That no action is being taken, and also no proper information is passed on to the persons who are making those complaints. They need to rethink that whole operations of the OPR. I remember when it all started was Mr. Edward Wills.
Yep,
that when the reporter made a report, he's given a slip. Yeah. Tell him about that the report is being and proper documentation is made and is being kept informed as the investigation progresses, as the case may be. But I don't know what's going on there, honestly. Maybe they're so close to the seawall, that things have gone overboard.
Yeah, well, you see, the thing is that when the public loses confidence, they make a report and nothing happens, so they lose confidence. And the errant ranks also believe that they can continue their errant behavior, and they operate with impunity because they're not called to answer for their, as the Ed said during the interview, talk about neglect. They're not called to answer for the neglectful behavior. So how do you move forward, and how do you improve a system in that way? And talking about seawall, you just mentioned seawall. I saw there was a fire close to the seawall not so long ago at CID headquarters that I referred to. Luckily, I understand that it was brought under control, and they said there's no serious damage there.
They said it is electrical, and I'm happy that they didn't find a piece of wire, a piece of sponge, and a light at that location. But I saw I think 2 or 3 mattresses, so they had sponge there. Or maybe they didn't have the wire and the light too.
Well, the thing about it is that what surprised me, I listened to the interview, I think it was Travis Chase conducted an interview with the chief fire officer, and I was shocked to hear that the report from the fire at the building nearby, that is at the OPR building there, the building that adjoined the DPP's chamber, that report is still to be made public. The fire chief dance, and as we say, he salawala. And I got a suspicion that based on what he was saying, the report or the investigation might have been completed. And what is not, well, might have even been submitted, but the report has not been made public as yet. That shocked me because that fire was months and months ago. So I thought by now they knew. I mean, if you look at the breakdown fire within 48 hours, people were saying what was the cause of that fire. They knew where the perpetrators, who the intellectual artists were, and they knew later on that it was a man in the lockup with a sponge, a wire, and a lighter.
Paul, they remove all the evidence and dash them some way. Maybe
within 24 hours. I commented on that. So, well, the only way you should remove it,
and we were told that international experts would have been coming in. COVID-19 stuff.
But remember, man, I made the point then. It's there on the social media for those persons who are would want to read. I said the international experts that are coming are those people like Lord Nelson spoke about when he talked about King Lear. The man said, "Don't show me the man. My tailor is class. Just show me the corner
that he fell off,
and he can make a suit." You realize? So that is it. You don't have to show them. They would have brought experts. You don't have to show them the debris. Just show them where this fire took place, and they would be able to tell you exactly what caused the fire. But it's sad. We make light of it now, or the way the thing was handled. But it is extremely, extremely sad. And the man who sits in the office of commissioner, when that interview was being done, his focus from the interview was on the fact that they were able to put operations in place that based on previous fires, they had a collaboration or something like that, he said, with the fire service. And they were able to put that system in place to minimize or to bring the fire under control. A lot of people dancing, a lot of people, but we really in a sad place. We really in a sad place. So
the man say SOPs, man.
SOPs, yeah. They like to use this SOP thing, SOP. And I challenge them to produce some SOP. I challenge them to produce. Just as how last night the fellas spoke about this strategic plan, 2022 to 2026. Right? I challenge them to produce the plan. Because if you have a plan, this plan is not a strategic plan, that's something, a secret document.
No.
It is not a secret document. If not made public, at least the ranks within the organization must know where we are going, how we are going to get there. That is what the plan is all about. But I smiled when I saw the focus of the plan, because I looked and I saw that the 5 areas that were mentioned are the same 5 areas that were mentioned in the plan that we talk about,
2011 to 15.
Same
Capital Simmons
plan. So if you're going to use the same plan, let us know that, look, the Capital Simmons plan is still relevant, and you're going to make the necessary changes. And that is the plan that you're working on. But you're giving people the impression you get some new plan. What new plan? What new plan? But in any event, this plan that they are talking about is a plan that is catering for the population of Guyana, which according to the first slide, and that is what turned me off.
750
persons. Guyana has a population of 700. Listen, I ain't making joke. I copied it. Guyana has a population of 750 persons. And when I saw this thing, my mind went right back to Larry Leland Lewis. You know, in our days, Larry Leland Lewis added so much on the toes that you can't make. I mean, people are going to say, well, you're being unduly harsh and critical of the man who sits. But, buddy boy, you have a program where you are going to be interacting with members of the diaspora. Perhaps you will expect hundreds. I mean, the numbers weren't very large. I think it went up to 160 something. But you have to anticipate that perhaps thousands of people going to be benefiting from this thing. And the first slide you're putting up as a mistake like that, it turned me off. It turned me off because it tells me, or it told me, that people are not paying attention to details. Like, that could have never get past us with Larry Lewis, even if, and I don't expect that man to be preparing that. He has staff to prepare it, but I expect that it will be reviewed, and that can't get past it would not get past us because we knew that if Larry Lewis pick up on something like that, he killed me.
Yep.
He killed me. I remember you. I don't know if you remember this. A man, something. There's a particular man who did not know. I think where Scroonard is. Well, Larry Lewis asked him was Scroonard. He didn't know where Scroonard was. Larry Lewis transferred immediately to the area where Scroonard was. So you're gonna get familiar with Scroonard. I mean, you would say Rs, draconian, and you're gonna use Rs as a word to describe the type of behavior, but it shows you that you have to be on your P's and your Q's. Now, one of the things I want to mention, if you're gonna go into the accident thing that we wanted to talk about, there is this video with the police vehicle, Region 5, according to them. I saw the video and I saw the response from the commander. Where according to the story, according to the release from the commander, he got a call about noise nuisance from an area, from a particular establishment where, according to him, where frequently there is noise. And the proprietor would tell them that, look, he's not the one making the noise. Patrons will come and they open their cars and they make noise. So the police went there. The story is that the video shows that the police vehicle is there, and in the cup holder of the police vehicle has this bottle, I think a 3/4 bottle of Heineken beer. The commander's story is that the people put the beer in the unattended police vehicle and took out the video in order to embarrass the police. What you think about that incident? What do you think about the explanation from the commander?
In one of my letters to the editor I wrote some time ago, I start with an opening sentence. Any individual, no, the performance of any individual or organization that does not respond to well-founded criticism with a willingness to change will be dull, as the case may be. That we need to listen to criticism, especially if they are well-founded criticism. And I remember listening to the O.J. Simpson matter, and Johnny Cochran said the weakness was in the 54th state, a state of denial. And the judge didn't understand him. And then he went on to explain that there's 50 states in the United States of America, and Puerto Rico had applied to become the 54th state, and Puerto Rico was denied. So he said the weakness was in the 54th state. And we in the police force, they're too quick to deny things. Investigate. And then if a liquor bottle was found in the vehicle, how could the police abandon that vehicle and leave it there? Understand the engine was on, the key was in the vehicle. And where is the public confidence in the police? The public doesn't have confidence in the police and able to assist, maybe to protect the police vehicle and do all sort of good things to the police. That they're telling you that public confidence was not there for the police. And I'm saying also, investigate. Don't go in the state of denial right away.
Well, I was disappointed in the response because I know the commander. I believe he's one for the future.
Yeah,
and,
he is.
I think, and if you look at the comments, nobody believed well, a few people did say, well, police are, a few comments, a very few were sympathetic of the police, but most of the comments were saying that they did not believe what the commander was saying. And it comes down to credibility, and therefore I will say to the commander, sir, your credibility as a commander is very, very important. You as a commander, when you come out and make a statement, people must believe you. People must believe you because the statement should be sung, and not only that the statement is sung, but you should conduct yourself in such a way that people will say to you, no, if this man says so, I believe. But when you show your credibility under the bus, under the line like this, it can affect you seriously down the future. So I would want to advise the commander, you should rethink, because I think that it might be better in them cases, in those cases, it might be better to stay silent and let the thing ride out than to try to come to appear to defend the ranks when perhaps it's not something that you can really defend. Sometimes it's best to stay quiet and let it ride. But he came out with a statement, and I think it is my view that he has damaged his credibility over a simple, stupid incident. Even if he didn't want to charge the ranks and to take condign action, he should have called them and bugged them up.
Yeah.
Call them and bug them up. And then to say that a breathalyzer test was administered and the ranks didn't. What were you saying? In order for the breathalyzer test to show a positive result, it means there would have had to be the breathalyzer test will tell you that they are not above the legal limit.
Mm-hmm.
The legal limit, that's what the breathalyzer test would have shown. But the police regulation is that there is no limit. You shouldn't take nothing at all. Whenever I said there's no limit, it means that you should not be drinking, period, not even a sip. So the breathalyzer test would not tell you whether they had one beer. My understanding is that you have to have above 2 for the breathalyzer test to register. So please, Mr. Commander, please don't go down that road. I think you are better than that. I know you. You are better than that. I must say that I was disappointed in the statement that was attributed to you. I hope you will reflect on it, and please don't go down that road. Your credibility is very, very important. CC, closing.
Yeah, and just to add, I know him well. He's a good commando. He's one for the future, but he bluff. And he had a strong case of suspicion, but suspicion is what it is. Suspicion. Nothing to back up what he's saying. So, Paul, I know that they've been listening to us. I got a call from a civilian on the East Coast saying that he's not now, he missed he's not seeing the lights on the police vehicle. Neither he's not hearing the siren now as they used to be. So perhaps things are happening. And we need to continue to highlight issues, to train them, to give them information so that they can do better. I want to see the police force do well. I want to see them. I have an abiding interest in the police force, and I'm not going to stop. And we're going to use this forum and all other forum to make sure that the police deliver the highest quality of service to the people they swore to serve and protect. And we must continue.
Well said, well said. You know, when we started out, you notice, and my apologies to the listeners, to the viewers, because the notice said that we would have been dealing with both the motor vehicle and road traffic, the problem on the road. But I did warn you that we have so many issues to talk about this morning that perhaps we might not even get to that. Current issues, and I think these are very current, and maybe next week we will get the opportunity to go into that, because I was really interested in talking about the proposed changes to the Motor Vehicle and Road Traffic Act, some of the suggestions that were made. So I promise that next week we are going to go into that. Hopefully we don't have that many issues intervening. We were to also tell you about the update you on the police rank who was caught sleeping. I understand based on social media, he might have seen a lawyer and might have initiated a certain course of action, because I saw the police issuing a release to say that he admitted to consulting an attorney, but some statement that was made, he doesn't know anything about that. So maybe by now and next Wednesday, we're going to hear something more about that we can keep the public up to date. Folks, I want to leave as I would normally do by warning you about this COVID situation. The numbers are going in the wrong direction. Let me don't bury our heads in the sand like the proverbial ostrich. The numbers are going up, 52, 30 something. The numbers are going up. We need to be extremely, extremely careful and make sure that we follow the protocols and that we do. This is in our hands to make sure that the numbers go back down. To make sure, even in New York, they have gone now into a higher state of alert because of the number of cases they have had in recent times. We need to fight this thing. We all need to fight this thing. So please, COVID is real. Let's stay with it. And let me say this. People saying all kind of things. The devil is at work. it is clear that they're coming after me. But you know, I believe in the man upstairs. And if you remember, there's a passage that says, and I think it's Romans, it's Romans for the Christian among us, Romans 8:31. If God is for us, who can be against us? So if God is for me, who can be against me? So I'm not worried with all those who come in and they're fighting and they're making. I am not unduly worried about that. I will continue to be here. I will continue to speak out and talk about corruption and incompetence because it's very prevalent. And if we are to move to a modern force, to a modern country, we have to admit that it exists and we have to seek to address it frontally. And that is what I will do. And that is what I will continue to do. So I want to thank you for listening this morning. And have a good day. Be safe. Not only from COVID, I mentioned accidents. Be safe. Do everything that you can to be safe. And God's willing, next week, Wednesday at 11 o'clock, we'll be here again. And you'll join me. I hope you will join me. Share the word and let people know about the program. Share the information so that more persons can join. And once again, I will be here to speak out and expose corruption and incompetence. Bye for now.